right, here he is from Maketoys. This is the mighty PANDINUS, their version of Scorponok, part of their City Formers series. And he's quite large. This is his base mode. The instructions, I think, refer to it as a temple mode, and it can certainly be used as that. Some early, when we first saw some pictures, referred to it as an energon refinery, and I like that idea too. So, yep, this should be folded down. But yeah, his base mode, all in all, there it is. Like I said, it's quite large. I'm down here on the floor in my office. I turned a bookcase around to serve as my background because I was going to shoot him at home, which would have allowed me to bring more, compare more larger figures, and I will put those at the end. But he's just too big. I didn't have a space where I would have the lighting and the space, because as of right now, the camera's sitting about 4 feet back. Actually, not 4 feet. It's probably closer to 2.5 feet back from the city itself. And you're probably going to see me moving in and out of the camera on my hands and knees trying to transform this guy. He's very large. And you see, it's an impressive, whatever this structure is, whether you refer to it as a temple or an energon refinery or a base or whatever, it's very large. And just to give you an idea of how big it is, here he is with the BotCon Scorponok from the Energon Scorponok mold. And it's deep too. Let me bring this around here. Like it's not just static flat. It extends forward quite a bit as well. It's a very large set. And like I said, one of the benefits of this, and it was kind of the same with Utopia, it's a large figure, and some of the difficulty in transforming it just comes from the size of it, but it's actually pretty intuitive, and it plays like a Voyager class figure, kind of like Utopia did. Like it seemed big and imposing, and a lot of times when you get these larger figures from third-party companies, usually a larger figure means a more complex figure. There is some of that on this, but he's surprisingly, I don't want to say simple because that makes it sound like a bad thing, but he's surprisingly like easy and intuitive despite being so massive. And again, here's size comparison. There's MP10. Just to give you an idea of exactly how big this base mode is. Not a whole lot of features in this mode aside from it's a base. The turrets here do rotate a little bit, and we'll show those off later on. He's got these little missile pods that you can move around. You can put them over here on the side of the arms, and again, we'll show some alternate configurations for that later on in the video. Now, you have an option up here with the top of the temple. You can attach his gun. Here's his gun. And the gun actually transforms a little bit too, mostly just that you can take the ammo pack out and collapse it, and you can attach that to his tail in both robot and scorpion mode, and we'll show that off. You can actually attach it here too, if you want to store it here in the temple. And basically, on this gun, let me come down here where I can actually see it. You see on the handle there's some grooves here, and the handle rotates. So you want to rotate it so the grooves are on the side. And then didn't lock the focus, which was good for the gun thing, but we should probably lock that for the far away stuff. And up here on the top of this, there's a little slot, and basically you push the gun all the way in to this second groove up here, and then slide it down, and it'll lock into the top of that. And you can have that up there to make the temple even taller. It's just a place to store it there in vehicle mode or in base mode. And you, like I said, if you want the gun to not be quite as tall, you can remove that ammo pack and shorten it. The other thing is the tip of his tail, and this is why I think it works as a temple. Is if you take this down and fold it down and around to the front, you can see his tail has a vaguely Decepticon-ish logo to it, which is neat. We also have the little headmaster guy. Just for comparison, we'll do the headmaster. We'll do a close-up of the headmaster when we get to robot mode with all his transformations. So, on to scorpion mode. These ramps here do retract. You can slide those in a little bit if you would like. When in the thing, that one ramp slides up into the temple that will make this look like one solid piece. But yeah, there's his base mode. And to turn him into a scorpion, open up the legs here and just lift this up and pull this whole shield assembly out. and slide the ramps in. Just like that. You see he's got some wheels here. This is going to go under the Scorpion and allow him to roll in Scorpion mode, but again, we'll get to that. Alright, so you come back here, you take the body, see if we can do this all on camera. The legs themselves, you want to go ahead, you actually turn them around from the back, because there's these support struts here that plug into the side of the body. So you unpeg those and flip those up into the feet. We doing okay? Alright. Then pull the legs out to the side and take this whole assembly and fold it back here like this. So now you've got a big splayed out transformer here. The Scorpion legs, spread the arms out a little bit. The Scorpion legs flip over and fold around down and under. And underneath, there's a slot here on the right here on the waist piece, and this tab right here, make sure that's in frame, is going to tab into that. When you've got it extended enough, that should tab in here. There we go. And fold the legs up. And you can kind of see the Scorpion body coming together here. So we'll go ahead and set that down like that. Let me bring this camera down a little bit. Rotate these forward onto the arms. Rotate the claws up like this. Actually, you can rotate, if you want, you can rotate just the claw itself. We'll get into all the articulation in robot mode. Now these panels here come out a little bit on the side to allow you to extend. The arms are on an extending joint here. That comes in like that, and then there's an inner piece that can rotate out as well to give his Scorpion arms a little bit more leeway in, again, let's see, there's the arm joint there. You see this piece came out to give the arms a little bit more clearance in Scorpion mode. This piece obviously flips up. This whole thing rotates down like this. This head piece, the inner head purple head piece, rotates down and around like that. Turn this around. So you see this whole piece assembly rotated down. It brings the Scorpion head to the front. And inside there's a little cockpit that you can put the headmaster in. And then this panel right here lifts up, comes down and closes up that cockpit. And you can bring this up to match that. So you can pilot the Scorpion mode. Let's bring this up. I don't look like it caught on the camera. Rotate this up and around. This up and around, they rotate very freely. See if I can bring this down just a little bit more. This thing is so huge. There we go. Extend the arm over here the same way. Rotate the claw. Claws open. Like that. And then on the back, the tail comes, the tail can arc up. The legs, you want to rotate up like this. And you fold these down and you tab them onto this tab right here. Now the instructions printed showed, let's get up here on the foot. See if we can get up here on this mechanism. Showed that this tab goes in to like this slot over here. It shows it going into one of the wrong slots, and that's incorrect here on the foot. You can see the shape of the tab has kind of an angle to it. It goes in this slot right here on the foot. This little angled slot is what you want to tab onto this. So, just bring this up, rotate the foot if you need to, but bring that up, and let me show you on the other side first. So bring this up, rotate these around, bring the foot up, angle it in, and then you want to get that tab into this slot right here. And that tabs the foot on. Piston came loose. And so basically you're just manipulating the joints until that foot tabs on. And same with the foot. Bring it down, get it on there and tap it in. It can be a little difficult to see what you're doing on this thing. But get those tabbed in there. It'll sit up here on his back. And then of course the tail rotates up at an angle. You got the legs here. Tap cables again. The feet should tab onto the back there. And then this whole shield assembly, like I said, goes up underneath him. So lift him up and it tabs in much the same way it did in temple mode, right here on the and then you see these tabs right here on his bottom go into these green tabs here. Tab that on, and then he is a very large scorpion. Foot keeps getting unpegged. And again, very deep, very large. And again, just to give you an idea how big he is, here he is in scorpion mode. Here he is with the BotCon scorpion mold, and we'll get up above it. Very, very large. And like I said, here on the tail, if you want, you can take this gun, pull this out, collapse it, and just like before, in the same way, you can attach it up into the tail piece here. So you can have like a cannon there on his scorpion tail, which I think looks pretty cool to have it up there like his stinger. And again, not a whole lot. Like, the arms are posable. You can move them at all the ratchets. The claws open and close. He's got some little blasters molded into the center of his claws. And he can roll. He's got the little rolling shield, so he can roll around on the floor. That gives him the clearance. And of course, you can pose the scorpion legs however you wish. They're on ball joints back there, so you can spread those out and make them look however you wish. But yeah, very, very large. Again, just to give you an idea, scorpion mode on him. And to go on to robot mode, go ahead, pop the gun out, although you can leave that in for robot mode as well. But we'll go ahead and stick it back together. Gun. So you bring the tail up. Oh, this piston came loose. Worry about that later. So we'll basically lift him up, unpeg the shield from the bottom, and the shield itself split in half. It comes apart into two pieces. So you bring the feet down and around like this. Bring the tail up here. Legs down. You want to lift up, unpeg the scorpion legs, rotate them around at the waist. Oh, knocked a couple scorpion legs off. They're all in ball joints, that happens. This actually really isn't as difficult as it seems here in the video. Just trying to shoot it and keep it on frame as best as I can when the camera's like, I'm a couple feet in front of the camera now transforming it, so it's hard to see what's going on. So apologies if we've had some issues, but I'm doing my best. So you take this, the whole upper body collapses, and the scorpion legs, fold them back, come up here onto the back, and then peg into a new slot here, and that kind of locks the whole upper body together once that's done and in place. Just like that. And then the tail comes up like this, go back and snap that all the way onto the back there like that. And you can stand them up. These kneecap pieces come up like this, and they will lock in there. You hear all the good ratchets. There's a lot of really tight, sturdy ratchets on this thing. Flip his feet up. Look at this. They do have ankle tilts, so the first time I tried to use the ankle tilt, they were a little tight, so be aware of that. Feet do have ankle tilts. Oh, man. Plug that back in. Come on. There we go. So now we've at least got him standing. Not perfect, but we'll get to that. We'll get to get him properly working. Tighten this up a little bit here. Okay. Go ahead and take the headmaster out of the chest. Right, so the feet we'll work on first. And like I said, these pistons that are attached down here to the feet, they were tabbed on. They come out, they lift up, and then there's a little T-tab on them that slides into a joint here on the leg itself. And that gives him fully functional working pistons there at his ankles. You can leave them attached down to the feet if you want. You don't have to attach them to the legs, but I like to do that. These inner tabs are a little hard to see. You can see the slot on this tab. And you can go, the instructions I think show tab these on underneath, like that. I like to go up top. It gives them a little bit more stability and makes them less likely to slide out of that connector in robot mode, but it's up to you. There we go. And these connector pegs that I'm attaching them into are on ball joints, so you can rotate them around and get them however you wish on the foot as well. So there's his feet. Solid, sturdy, ready to go. This kneecap is not all the way up, so go ahead and snap that up in. All right, arms, as you would expect, rotate around like this. Rotate the turrets up and around like this. Straighten those out. And then collapse these back. Again, you can use the extensions here on the elbow joint if you wish. This will give you a better idea of how these elbows work. But you can fold them in like that, pull the gray part up, and then they're connected to the arm. And then rotate this. The other way. You can see the elbow like that, and then rotate the claw here. And there you've got an arm. And it's the same on the other side. That's how you want. That's how the arm collapses up, the joint wise, and then you can just fold the screen joint down and in. And the headpiece, this whole piece right here, this inner purple piece, rotates around between here. And you rotate the head up, just like that. Close that chest piece. This piece right here comes down and covers the chest. Bring his tail up behind his back. You can rotate the scorpion legs. I usually have them facing up, but again, they're on ball joints. You can rotate them however you wish on his back. And the shields. These pieces right here, if you rotate them, it will expose the joint, and you can slide these pieces off. You can attach the shield pieces on either arm directly to these pieces and have them be a little wider. What I like to do, it makes it a little less bulky, is take these and slide them up onto the connectors on his shoulders. And then connect the shields directly to his arm. They both have the same kind of sliding tab connectors there on the bottom. And you connect them there. That arm, and then just slide this up on this arm, and he's got his arm shields. Now the gun, and what's neat about this rotating post on the gun is because he has this connector, again, he kind of has that little groove on the gun tab, much like if you have cupola, or cupola, however you say it, there's like a slot mechanism, so we can hold the gun in his claw. It just slides in and locks into place. If I can get it in there. There we go. Now, because that's why I like the rotating handle, because if you don't want to have his claw straight, if you want to have it look more like he's gripping the gun, you can close the claw up, but the gun will rotate to still look like it's facing forward, or not look like it, still be facing forward. So once that's plugged in, you can rotate the gun around however you position the hand and still have him look like he's holding his pistol. Or his rifle. Sorry, that is definitely way more than a pistol. So he's got the basic helmet already attached, but you can see it's empty. And now we're going to focus on the headmaster for a minute. So, Zarak here, or whatever they wish to call him, let's go ahead and focus on him for a minute. He is. He's built very much like the Maketoys Headmaster's Hardhead, or Iron Will and Cupola. He's got the tabs on his arms. He's a little dude. He does have this long ponytail, which will make sense in a moment. And that's because in this form, you can take his arms, pull them out, and rotate them down like this. His legs, you lift up and flip up to cover his face. The arms come down like this and extend up. And he's got...
Somebody please be able to help the gentleman with the FM programming question on part 2.
I don't even know how many times that page may have gone off while I've been shooting this thing. I love the public paging system here at work. It's awesome, especially for stuff that, like, you could just call somebody directly. But anyway, so he has a little scorpion mode here. So it's cool. He's got a little mini scorpion. And then to transform him into the head, leave the arms down, fold the legs down. This little piece under his robot head that the tail is attached to, rotate that around. His head will rotate sometimes with it. I like to turn his head up so it's not facing out. But you just rotate this piece right here. And then fold his arms back up. And fold them down to his sides. And then at the waist, you rotate his legs at the waist, fold it down, and then there's some little slots, peg holes here on the legs that are going to peg onto his arms. there, this all packed in together properly. Yeah. Now you're just being a pain to be a pain. There we go. And there's his head mode. It kind of looks like he's been decapitated with a bloody spine hanging out. That will kind of become a Padawan braid-like ponytail when we put him into the figure itself. But I do kind of like the visual effect of like, I've been, you know, just like Sub-Zero just ripped his spine out. So let's go to the figure itself, and we'll show you how to put this in. See, can I get a good angle on it from this? Yeah, okay, here we go. Let's focus up. So up here, I'm going to apologize for my stuffiness. I've got some allergies going on. So you bring the helmet forward. Can I? This is a slightly better angle here. There we go. So you bring the helmet forward, and basically you take the headpiece, and you stick it in kind of chin first in here, and then just slide it into the helmet piece itself. And like I said, this piece kind of hangs down like a ponytail. And then he's got the face. And this panel that it's on can also rotate independently. So right now he's kind of in a hunched pose, but you can lift that up to have him facing straight. And the head, because of the way it attaches in the helmet, can look side to side, can look up and down. You can't only look up so much without using this. But he does have some head rotation there, and he does have this little ponytail hanging out. Now, if you don't prefer the ponytail, you won't have the scorpion mode, but these are just, each segment of this is just connected by some little metal rings. You could take a small pair of pliers and undo the metal ring right there by his body, and the Headmaster Funky still turns into a head and a robot, and will fit in the helmet just fine without this ponytail if for some reason you don't like it. I do wish, since he's supposed to be a mini scorpion, I do wish that these maybe were like some little snap together ball joint pieces so it was more posable instead of just kind of hanging limp all the time. You know, it would have been nice if, like, in Scorpion mode, if you could pose his tail like arching up over his back like you can with a larger figure. But that's how they chose to do it. And like I said, I do like about that is that it is very easy to just, if you want to unhook the little metal thing, you can pop it right off, set it to the side, and still have a fully functioning Headmaster and not have to deal with the ponytail. You just lose out on the Scorpion mode. Alright, so that is the basics here of PANDINUS. This is going to be a long video. Let's get out here. And now that we've got them all transformed, let's go off on some features. First, we'll do a real quick size comparison with what I've got here. Here he is with, again, with the BotCon Scorponok in robot mode and with MP10. And you can tell he's big, but even looking at the video, you don't really get an idea of just how massively imposing this guy is until you have him in hand. He's huge. He's deep. He's like 11 inches front to back from the tips of his toes to the back arc of his tail. 11 inches deep, 18 inches wide, and to the top of his tail, 19.5 inches tall. So he's just a big, bulky, solid, square bot. It makes him, like I said, it makes him shorter than G1 Fort Max. G1 Fort Max, he comes up maybe to about his waist. But when you see them, and again, I'll attach some pictures, I'll do a little photo montage at the end of the video review since I couldn't bring all of my giant city formers in to record this. In Scorpion mode and City mode, he's got the same mass as Fort Max. It's just packed into a squatter package. So posability, like I said, you've heard all the ratcheting joints in all this. The tail, of course, can move all around. He's got the head turn. He's got all the requisite shoulder and elbow. And again, you can even get some more range if you extend that joint in his shoulder. Articulation, the cannons rotate. And on the prototype, these cannons were on ball joints and could rotate independently inside the turret base itself. That's something they seem to have scrapped for the final. Which I don't mind so much because it's just one more thing to move around. But both the cannons do rotate. You've got the ratcheting elbow. You've got a bicep swivel here, which also ratchets. You got ratcheting wrist. The fingers open on, I believe these are on ball joints. This one may just be on a hinge joint here, the thumb. And then the front part of the claw can rotate in that much as well on both hands. He's got a waist swivel. He's got the ratcheting hips both out and front to back. Bicep swivel. He's got a double hinge knee here. And he does have the ankle tilts, which work there with the pistons. They expand. He's got a little storage facility down here. You can capture, I guess if you capture some of the other headmasters, he's got like a couple little jail cells in his cell. That will go on to like some of the smaller features. So he's got these little flip open containment cells here in his feet. The head, of course, and on the back of his legs, which is again why I like to think of him as possibly an energon refinery. The back of his legs have some little hatches here that open up and contain two more of the come on, don't be a pain. One of these will come out. There we go. Contain two more of these little things which spin. This is what you see in the middle of his rifle. So he's got some little energon storage packs here in the backs of his legs. So all in all, he's big, he's sturdy. Like I said, he's not as much of a chore to transform as it may have seemed on this video, because you're not usually crawling around on your hands and knees trying to get him in frame. He's actually fairly simple transformation for such a large bot. There's a lot of detail on him, and some neat stuff going on. One of the things that I wish they had done is that the way this claw shield works is that the ramp extends out like that in the front for the city mode. And when you see how it all fits together in the base mode, it makes sense why this claw couldn't fit a different way. But I would have liked the connector point is on this sliding piece. So if it's connected to the arm, you can slide it up that way, which is okay. But it would have been neat if they had worked this so the ramp extended out this way, because then if it were attached, the shield could be like, if it slid out this way, it could extend out as like a capture claw. Not a design flaw. That's more of me wishful thinking. And now that I've got this off, these little clips hold this forearm together, because on both arms on both sides, when nothing's clipped on, you can open up this forearm piece, take it off, clip it back together, and it also has an attachment point as well as an attachment clip, so you can attach it up here. Actually, for these, they're so heavy it helps if you attach it to the top first. Let's get this out of the way here. And rotate it around. That way gravity is not working against you there. But you can attach that up here onto his shoulder, and then inside, flip this out and rotate it around at the wrist. And he has fully articulated normal hands underneath both claws for the fine, delicate work. I'll go ahead and do the other one just to show it off. So take the shield off, unpeg this, slide it off, and again, there you can see that hand. Just bring it down, rotate it, close up the claw, take the gun out, obviously, and then we'll go ahead and slide that on up here and rotate it down and around. And there he is working with normal sized hands. They don't quite hold the gun as securely. You can get him to hold the pistol or the rifle. Sorry, have it. You can get him to hold his rifle, but it's hard to get him to hold it securely, but he can hold it with the smaller hands. But if you just want something a little different, you can give him standard hands there. So yeah, it's coming out. It's a big mamma jamma. I measured the box. He comes in a plain brown shipper, and there's no interior nice photograph box like some of them do. It's the brown shipper, and inside is the plastic tray with the robot and the instruction sheets. So, but he's big. The box itself is, I believe it was 27.5 inches long by 18 inches tall by 7 inches thick is the shipping box he comes in. And I gotta say, this guy's impressive. He's large, he's huge. He's got a lot of neat little features on him. He's really not difficult to transform. Once you do it a couple of times, you'll have it down, because there's not a lot to it. It's just a matter of manipulating these large pieces. He's surprisingly light for his size, because a lot of these pieces, like this whole joint was flipping up in there, are hollow. They're solid pieces. That's not to say that like he's not poorly constructed. It's just this isn't like a solid hunk of plastic inside there, and so he's a little lighter than you first expect picking up. He's still heavy. Make no mistake. He is not. It's not like you pick him up and go, oh, it's like feathers. No, he's pretty hefty, but he is surprisingly light, which I'm sure is what allows him to support himself in some of these poses. Although again, every ratchet on this thing is super ratchety. He can support himself in a wide variety of like wide-legged poses and things like that, because he is not they didn't skimp out on ratchet support, although that may be as far as his ankle tilts. But he's got big feet. He supports his mass. He doesn't topple backwards even if you have the tail sticking straight out the back. Very impressed. Was very excited when this guy showed up on the front porch the other day. I may personally pop that tail off, I don't know, but and if you're curious, it would look like that in robot mode. You just hide the tail up behind here, just to give you an idea of basically what it would look like if you didn't have the tail hanging down. But yeah, it's another good solid effort from Maketoys in their City series. Very large, very massive. Like I said, I just can't convey how huge he is in hand. Short, but stocky and massive. So yeah, I'll coming up next, we'll do that quick little photo montage of him with Generations Metroplex and with Fortress Maximus in all 3 modes, and we'll check him out. But there it is. Maketoys PANDINUS. Very impressive.